I've had a rough week. Since I woke up trapped in Crossland High School with no way out other than to kill somebody, I've faced one death after another. Abigail and Rowley, then Bryce, Chirag, and Ruby. I survived Bryce's trial thanks to the rules, but I'm not exactly off scot-free. While everyone else is eating in the dining hall, I'm... Honestly, I didn't expect everyone to react the way they did. Sure, I killed Bryce, but it was basically in self-defense. I guess in the killing game, even that's enough to get people's guards up. I suddenly heard a noise from the other side of the room. Greg? I didn't expect to see Emilio here. I had never really talked to him much before now, and even weirder, he was carrying a plate of food. Hi. Hey, if you don't mind, I brought some stuff for you. He put a plate of toast and eggs on my dresser. Wow, thanks. I thought I was public enemy number one out there. Well, I mean, Bailey hates you, no offense. Great. She's riled up a bunch of the others, but just give it time. It'll calm down eventually. I hoped he was right. It was nice to see that somebody was looking out for me, at least. A little too nice. Why are you doing this exactly? I don't know. I guess I just thought it was unfair how the others were treating you. I mean, you were a big help in catching Ruby. Emilio turned to leave the room, but first he said one more thing. By the way, another staircase is unlocked. You might want to check it out. I remembered the end of the first trial, when we found the set of stairs that led up to the second floor. If Emilio was right, it seemed like a new area of the school reopened after each trial. I wondered how many floors of this place there could even be. Surely this game wouldn't go on for that long. I was still a little cautious about leaving the room, but I decided to take a look. What's the worst that could happen? But suddenly I heard voices approaching. I searched for a hiding spot, and luckily I found one. Come on, Bailey, give it up already. Are you kidding? He's a murderer. I recognized Amelia and Bailey's voices, but there were a few others with them that I couldn't see. Either way, it sounded like she was still pretty mad. I kept moving and eventually I found something on the second floor. I could have sworn it wasn't there before, but in the corner was... I climbed up the stairs to what must have been the third floor. Just like the last time, I decided to check things out room by room. The first thing that caught my eye was a door labeled Physics Lab. At the center of the room was a giant machine with a bunch of weird looking vents and buttons attached. What is this thing? I didn't expect to get an actual answer. It's a time machine! Ignoring the fact that Alfredo nearly gave me a heart attack, I wasn't sure whether to take him seriously. I mean, after all the crazy stuff I had heard in the past week. It can only go forward 1 minute every 60 seconds, though. Very funny. What is it, really? Well, if you must know, it's an air purifier. An air purifier? Sure! It pumps clean air throughout the entire school. Without it, well, let's just say this game would end a lot sooner. Alfredo darted away, leaving me with that information. It seemed odd to have an air purifier in a place like this, especially one so massive. I mean, when we get air from outside, there wasn't much else of note in the room. I couldn't help but notice the cameras though. There were security cameras all throughout the building. Not too unusual for a school, but this school had even more than usual. I guess in case anyone stole equipment. I left the physics lab and moved on to the rest of the third floor. Next up was the rec room, which was kind of a surprise. Crossland High School definitely didn't have one of those, but sure enough, inside was a pool table, racks of magazines, and a few arcade machines. The magazines were all pretty out of date though, even the ones that were supposed to be updated weekly. Weird. This floor also had art and music rooms, which seemed pretty cool. The music room had a bunch of instruments, including a stage with a piano at the back of the room. The art room had all kinds of art supplies and materials, from every kind of paint to these sharp chisel things that I guess must have been used for sculpting. Next up was a set of doors labeled locker rooms. Just like the bathrooms, I had to scan my handbook to get in. The boys' locker room wasn't anything special, but when I went through the door on the other side, I couldn't believe what I saw. It was a full-size pool, complete with a little workout area in the back. I knew the others would be excited about that. There wasn't much else to see on the third floor, just a few classrooms and a trophy room, so I headed back to my room. I was sure everybody else was all hanging out together, but I wasn't sure how some of them would feel about me joining, of course. Still, I had a lot of free time on my hands. There was no reason to let it go to waste. The next morning, I thought about my conversation with Emilio. I couldn't just hide out in my room forever. Eventually, I would need to face the others, and there's no time like the present, right? I headed down to the dining hall and threw the doors open. Are you kidding? Why are you here? I can be here if I want, Billy. I need to eat too. I grabbed some waffles from the kitchen and headed back out. Emilio motioned me to sit with him, so I did. Greg, glad you could join us. What's up, Gregster? Hey guys, I figured it made sense not to bring up what happened to Bryce, so we made small talk about what else had been happening lately. Speed Bump and Latricia were very excited about the pool, which I guess isn't surprising. Alex apparently plays the piano, so he was happy about the music room. Some of the others were definitely still hostile, but I did my best to avoid them. I had to just take Emilio's advice and give it time. After breakfast, I headed back to my room. I had the whole day ahead of me, and I still had to decide who to spend time with. That evening, I decided to head back to the dining hall, but on the way, I heard what sounded like music, and it was coming from above me. I followed the sound until I arrived at the music room, and inside it was some classical music I didn't recognize, but it actually sounded really nice. I stood in the doorway, not wanting to interrupt him, but as he was finishing, I heard footsteps approach the room. Alex, that was fire! Yeah, that was pretty sick! Oh, thanks. I've been taking lessons for a while. Speed Bump ran across the room until he reached a drum set in one corner. He sat down and started playing. Come on, don't leave me hanging here. Alex hesitantly started playing again, and soon Angie was joining in on one of the guitars hanging on the back wall. It was kind of a mess. Neither Speed Bump nor Angie were good enough to keep up with Alex, and so the song was all over the place. But it seemed like they were having fun, even Alex. I thought about my first impression of Alex, and how he had never interacted much with kids our age. Maybe this was good for him. The others left after a few minutes, but I stayed behind. Absent-mindedly, I wandered over to the drum set. Hearing Speed Bump play, it kinda reminded me of Roderick. Man, it had been a while since I had seen him. Thinking about Roderick? What? What did you say? Whoa, easy, partner. Hurting the principal is against school regulations. How do you know him? How do you know who Roderick is? Now, don't be silly. Why wouldn't I know about your older brother? Alfredo darted out of sight, leaving me completely bewildered. Had Alfredo done something to Roderick? Just how much did he know about me? Are you okay, Greg? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. We started walking back to the dining hall in silence. It was nice playing music with everyone. I've never performed with anybody else before. Yeah, I'm no good at music, but my brother Roderick is. The next morning, I headed down the dining hall again. When I got there, somebody was waiting for me. Yo, Greg! Speed and the Bumps are gonna be performing in the music room for one night only. Okay, we are not calling ourselves Speed and the Bumps. But yeah, you should totally come. Patty apparently plays guitar too, so we've got ourselves a little four-person band. Hang on, you invited him too? I'm not going if he's going. Guys, relax. This will be fun. Can't we all be in the same room without killing each other? Bailey looked annoyed, but she sighed and walked away. After eating breakfast with the others, I headed up to the music room where I found the band was already getting set up. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alfredo knows where I live! Boo, you ruined the song! Slow down. What did he say exactly? Alfredo knows about my family, my sister's names, my home address. I was immediately reminded of yesterday. A friend also knew who Rogic was, and I couldn't be a coincidence. He mentioned my brother's name too. Actually, he said the same thing to me. He knows who my parents are. He listed off all my friends at school. He knows the color of my pet squirrel. Do you think something has happened to them? That was terrifying to think about. Whatever happens, we have to remain calm. Panicking like this is just what Alfredo wants. As Alex said that, I realized why Alfredo had told this to all of us. It wasn't a coincidence. It was all a part of his plan. This is our next motive. What? He's right. Alfredo wants us to get so worried about what's happening outside that we'll do anything to escape. I looked around the room to see someone glaring at me. Oh, come on. Do you seriously think I'm going to go through with this? You've killed before, haven't you? Another body on your hands should be no big deal, right? Hey, Bailey. You think I wanted to kill Bryce? You think I enjoyed it? Every day, I wish I could take it back. He was trying to kill me and I panicked. If he had killed me and gotten away with it, everyone here but you two would be dead. So maybe, just maybe, shut the fuck up. Bailey walked off. Things had seemed hopeful just a few minutes ago. I could tell everyone else was uneasy now. We all left the room, one by one. The next morning I sat down at the dining hall table, but something was off. Where's Speed Bump? Huh, you're right. That's weird. I wouldn't have batted an eye if Albert or Alex had ditched, but Speed Bump was one of the most sociable people here. It was weird for him to skip breakfast. You think we should go check on him? That was a good idea, so the three of us stood up to leave. In the end, Holly and Albert decided to come with them. Not like there's anything else to do. We all walked over to Speed Bump's room and Angie knocked on the door. No response. Hey, it's unlocked. His room was empty. That was definitely odd. I don't like this. Hey, there's plenty of places he could be. Let's check upstairs. We headed upstairs and tried the library and the gym balcony, but no luck. We moved up the third floor. What about the pool? He and Latricia are into exercise and stuff, right? That was true. We walked down the hallway towards the pool and I threw open the doors. Inside, oh my god. He rushed towards Speed Bump. Speed Bump? Bumpster? Say something! Not cool, bro. Speed Bump, you're alive. Yeah, my head hurts, but I'm all... Whoa, I need to sit down. I'll go tell the others. We all nodded and Albert left the room. So, what happened? I was just lifting, bro. There's a speaker here, so I was listening to that, and I guess someone came up behind me. I think something hit me in the back of the head. Anyway, I kind of passed out for a bit, but then Angie woke me up. Dude, you need medical care or something. There is a nurse's office on the first floor, right? I can take him. Heh, nice. Emilio carried him off, leaving the rest of us standing there. So, what now? We look for the attacker, I guess. And split up? Is that a good idea? Well, yeah, I guess not. Well, why don't we stick together? Holly, Angie, and I left the pool and started down the hallway. The art room was nearby, so we went there first. Hey, there's a cool closet back here. No killers inside, though. Nothing else was amiss there, so we left the room. We checked out some of the classrooms, the rec room, and finally we arrived at the physics lab. Damn, this place is huge! Yeah, there's a few storerooms in the back, so we should probably check those. We looked inside each one, but nobody was there. Well, this is getting us nowhere. What the heck was that? Let's go check. We made our way past the maze of equipment and out the room, but the hallway was empty. What's this? She picked up a blue splinter of wood. Hey, I recognize this. It's a part of the guitar I was using. So then, should we check the music room? We walked down the hallway to the other end of the third floor. I opened the doors to the music room, bracing for the worst. Seems pretty normal to me. Although one of the amps is missing, and my guitar too. Huh, yeah, that is strange. Guys, I don't feel good about this. Somebody is moving stuff around and we have no idea why. All we can do for now is stick together. No one is going to try attacking three people at once. We left the music room, but I was only a few steps out the door when... What the? I stumbled around in the dark. The lights in the hallway had completely shut off, and with all the windows covered by those metal plates, I couldn't see a foot in front of me. Guy? Greg? Holly? I tried to follow Angie's voice, but all I could hear was a mess of footsteps as we stumbled around. Suddenly, I heard something slam. I'm right here. Are you both okay? I'm fine. Angie, are you also fine? Just then, the lights flickered back on. As I squinted and adjusted to the light, Holly and I came to the same terrifying conclusion. Angie was gone. Oh no. At that moment, we heard a muffled shout. It was definitely Angie's voice. I think it came from the art room. We raced over to the art room and I pulled on it. It's locked. Let me try. I let her, but of course it didn't open for her either. The door was locked from the inside, or being blocked by something. I thought about what to do. We could try to break down the door, but even if we did, Alfredo probably wouldn't like that. Alfredo! Hey, Alfredo! What are you? Eh? ¿Qué pasó? Alfredo came running towards us as fast as little doll feet could carry him. I didn't think it was possible for a doll to look tired, but somehow he managed. No puedo creer esto. Nonsa. En todos mis años docencia. Había. No hablo español. Alfredo looked confused, then started twitching for a few seconds. Gah! Sorry. System reboots and all of that. I can't believe one of my own students would shut off the power. There's no time. Open this door. Alfredo sighed sarcastically. Well, since you act so nicely... Suddenly, Alfredo froze in place. Holly and I looked at each other in confusion, but soon we heard a clicking sound. The door handle turned, and an identical Alfredo pushed the door open. There! Don't say I never did anything nice for... Holly and I pushed past him and burst into the art room. Inside, our worst fear had come to life. I stood frozen in place. As Holly rushed over to her, I prayed for a second miracle, that she would miraculously be okay just like Speed Bump. But Holly confirmed my fear. She's dead. An all too familiar feeling of dread washed over me. I didn't want to believe it, but Angie's body was lying right in front of me. One minute she was joking around with us, the next. We have to tell the others. Holly and I burst out of the room, past Alfredo and down the stairs. But when we got to the first floor, we saw somebody. Guys, are you okay? I saw the lights went out and... Angie's dead. Oh my God. We're gonna go tell the others. Her body's up in the art room. Yeah, okay. He nervously hurried up the steps back the way he had come. Soon, the intercom buzzed to life. A body has been discovered. After a certain amount of time, which you may use however you like, The class trial will begin. The announcement rang hollow in my ears. Holly and I started searching the first floor for the other people. Soon, I heard footsteps running up to us. Holy shit, I heard the announcement. The body's in the art room. You should probably head up there. Alone? Are you kidding? First Speed Bump gets attacked and now Angie too? The killer's probably still lurking in the hallways. That was a valid point. Holly sighed and told Albert to come with us, and we headed to the dining hall. The others were there already, alert. Emilio rushed in behind us. Who? Angie. She's in the art room. That's when someone stumbled into the room. What? Who? What happened to you? Gah! He got hit on the head. Probably by the same person who killed Angie. There was so much confusion swirling through my head, and all the noise wasn't helping. But as I sat down at one of the tables, someone came up to me. Greg, I heard the announcement. What happened, man? Speed Bump still seemed a little delirious, but I wasn't going to just lie to him. I'm sorry, Speed Bump. It was Angie. No. No, man. You're lying. I just saw her. She was right upstairs. You need to rest. Come on. Let's go back to the nurse's office. Emilio led a protesting Speed Bump back to the nurse's office, and I followed. Greg, listen, man. You gotta find out who killed Angie. Promise me. I hesitated. How was I supposed to promise that? I'll do my best. Emilio and I stepped out into the hallway. Dude, are you okay? Of course not. Angie's really... She's really gone. I wasn't quite sure how to comfort Emilio. It seemed like both he and Speedbump were closer to Angie than I was. There is only one thing we can do now. She would have wanted the rest of us to survive, so let's find the killer. Emilio and I walked back to the cafeteria in silence. The other survivors, minus Speedbump, were there waiting for us. Well, we know the drill. If we're going to survive, we need to investigate. He was right, and I knew where to start. The art room, where Angie had been killed. We stood around in uncomfortable silence for a moment, but people started to disperse around the school. I made my way upstairs to the art room. Hey, Greg! I walked over to Holly, who was crouched near Angie's body. There are a bunch of sculpting tools thingies lying all over the floor. Angie was stabbed with one of those. I guess it made sense that one of the sculpting tools was the murder weapon. As I looked closer, I could see a few stab wounds on Angie's stomach and one on her arm. Art supplies were scattered all over the room. There was definitely a struggle. Yeah, even the closet is all messed up. The closet. That was weird. It hadn't been like this when we checked earlier. I could have sworn Angie had left the door open. Now it was closed. I didn't have much time to dwell on that, though, because Holly was already on the other side of the room. This door locks from the inside. Yeah, I guess that checks out. Don't you get it? If the killer locked the door from the inside, where were they when we busted in? She was right. That door was the only exit. So how could the killer have escaped without unlocking it? We looked around the room, but there wasn't much else to see. I stepped out into the hallway, and that's when I saw Alex. Oh, there you are. You might want to check out the computer lab. That was odd. I didn't know why Alex mentioned the computer room, but I figured it couldn't hurt to check. What the? There was a cluster of devices in one corner. Pretty much every computer from the room, but also guitars, an amplifier, and some of the computers from the library. They were all plugged into... Whoa! That's gotta be a huge safety hazard! They were all connected to the same outlet using a bunch of extension cables. Could this be... They used this to cause a blackout! That might just be dumb enough to work. But could something like this shut off the power to an entire building? I really should have been getting used to El Friendo popping up out of nowhere by now, but it still caught me off guard.
Well, this building is pretty old, not to mention all the additions.
Then that must be it. They used this to distract us and get Angie alone. There wasn't much else in the computer lab to go off of, so I left after that. But no matter where I looked, there didn't seem to be any more evidence. The pool had the dumbbell that was used to attack Speed Bump, but nothing else of note was in there. This was shaping up to be a pretty short trial.
Greg, what was your alibi for the time of Angie's murder?
Huh? Well, like I said, I was with Holly. We were together and when the lights went out and when they came back on.
She said the same thing. I was just checking to see if that your stories match.
Right, whatever. Hey, can I see that? I glanced at Patty's list of alibis. I was about to say something to Patty when we both heard a noise.
Okay, everyone, you know what time it is. Please head to the red door on the first floor of the school.
I froze in shock. It was already time? I felt like we had barely investigated anything, but I knew better than to keep Alfredo waiting. Patty and I headed downstairs. I made my way downstairs, where the others were already waiting by the red door. The door slid open and we all stepped into the elevator. The doors opened again and we all spilled into the trial grounds. As we found our podium, it became painfully obvious how much the group had shrunk.
Hold on. Before we do anything, we need information. Who was with Angie when she left the dining hall?
It was me, Holly, Emilio, Albert, and Angie. I told them the whole story about finding Speed Bump splitting up and then the blackout.
So, let me get this straight. You were standing right next to her when the lights go out and suddenly she's dead?
Bailey, don't start.
That is a little suspicious, Greg.
Yeah, pretty sus. I had a feeling this trial was going to turn into another Greg Heffley beatdown, but Holly stepped in.
I was outside the art room with them too. I'm just as suspicious as Greg is.
That's not really helping. I looked around the room to see accusatory glances thrown left and right, but as always, he was there to steady us.
Let's not get carried away. There's still a lot about this incident we don't know.
That's true. Right away, there's something about Angie's death that doesn't make any sense.
Oh, you mean the locked door, right?
Yeah. The killer went into the room with Angie and then, killed her. The door was locked from the inside, but when Holly and I got there,
the killer was gone. So how could the killer have gotten out?
Maybe they used the vents, like in the hit game Among Us? I can smell my comment section already, it's not looking too good. Albert paused, as if waiting for someone to chide him for quoting some outdated game, but the person who would usually do that was Angie.
I mean, it might be possible. Nah! There are vents located around the school, but they're strictly Alfredo-sized. Even someone as tiny as Mr. Aruda couldn't get in.
I don't appreciate that.
Well, there's another way. Oh? What if the killer was Angie? What? As in, she killed herself?
No way! Angie would never do that. We were bros. She wouldn't just...
I can't believe I'm agreeing with him, but Speed Bump's right. There's no way. It is a possibility.
We looked around uncomfortably, but someone who had been quiet up until now spoke up. Possible, maybe, but I don't think that's what happened. When I saw Angie's body, it was pretty bad. She had been stabbed multiple times, both in her stomach and on her arm.
Plus, the room was in complete chaos. There was a struggle. So, what is it then? The killer was inside the room with no way out, but when we get inside, they're gone? Maybe it was a squirrel. They could have just found a place to hide. I don't even know where to begin. Hang on. He might be onto something.
What? With the squirrel thing?
No, finding a place to hide.
Is there a place to hide in that room? That's when it hit me.
I knew Angie had left it open when we left, and now it was closed, and the inside was all messy. How could I have missed it? The closet. Whoa, you're right. Someone could fit in there? Somebody definitely could. Trust me, I have a lot of experience hiding in closets. Okay, well that does check out. So that means the killer was right under our noses the whole time. I was standing right next to them and I didn't even know. Hey, you couldn't have known where they were hiding. All that matters now is that we find out who it is. Well, if Greg and Holly were both inside the art room when the lights came on, neither of them can be the killer. Because at that point, the killer was hiding in the art room, right? So 2 people are clear. That still leaves 8 more. Well, I did write down everyone's alibis. Patty read off to everyone the list she had shown me earlier. Well, then it couldn't have been me or Patty. We were in the dining hall together. As was I. When the group left to find Speed Bump, it was me, Latricia, Bailey, Patty, and Fregley. We weren't around for the whole time, though. Me and Fregley had already gone back to our rooms when the blackout hit. Hey, don't rat us out like that. Just saying. Wait, are y'all two fucking? Damn, that's kinda crazy. Hey, don't forget about the blackout. Even if someone had an alibi, they still could have left, killed Angie, and come back before the lights turned on. Is there enough time to do all that? Even if there was, we already established that the killer was inside the art room when the lights turned on. If, say, Patty had done it, Bailey or I would have noticed she was missing when the power returned. Okay, then it has to be Speed Bump, Patricia, Emilio, Albert, or Fregley. Dude, me and Emilio were together. Well... What do you mean, well? I left to go get Speed Bump some water. It was supposed to only be a minute-long trip, but then the lights went out. How long were you gone? Only a few minutes. Once the lights came on and I got my bearings, I came back to check on Speed Bump. That's true. Still, both of you were alone. Suspicious. Guys, come on now. Hey, he could have been Fregley. Hey! There is something else we should talk about. The blackout was intentional. Yeah, she's right. There were a bunch of things plugged into one outlet of the computer lab. It seems like somebody was trying to cause a power outage. Yeah, and that shut me off too. If you're going to kill somebody, at least be considerate about it. There was a massive pile of electronics in the lab. That would have taken time to set up. So I'm good. Emilio and I were both chilling in the nurse's office until like a minute before. Not necessarily. We don't know when the blackout was set up. Bro, what is your problem? Why do you keep insisting that I killed my friend? Hey, hang on. We do know when it was set up. We heard it. You mean that crash we heard when we were investigating with Angie? Yeah, Angie found a piece of her guitar outside, right? Then it seems like the equipment was moved while you three were investigating. Right, then it was somebody who didn't have an alibi during the search. So you're clear, Speed Bump. Seriously? We're in the middle of a trial. Come on, let him rest. He was like this earlier too. He was like this when you brought him down to the nurse? Yeah. I mean, he had just been hit on the head. Then your alibi doesn't hold up. Bailey shook Speed Bump awake and asked him about Emilio. Damn, yeah. I guess I was asleep for a while there. Sorry, bro. So you could have been prowling around and scheming that whole time. My stomach started to sink. I didn't want to believe that Emilio was the killer, but I couldn't deny that our list of suspects was narrowing. Still, there's a lot we hadn't talked about yet. Speaking of Speed Bump, we should probably talk about his attack. Good idea. Speed Bump said that he was in the pool before breakfast when he was attacked from behind. I believed he described himself as getting swole. Before breakfast, that could have been anyone. Guys, I think I...
I remembered what Emilio had said a few days ago about wanting to speak up more during the trials. I did my best to encourage him. Listen, everyone, there's something that's been bothering me. Albert, Speedbump and I split off from the group got upstairs. Albert told us he was going to tell the others about Speedbump. But when Speedbump walked into the dining hall after the murder,
What happened to you? Gah!
you're right, they had no idea what happened to him.
You never told us about Speed Bump, Albert. I didn't see you at all.
I couldn't find you guys.
There was a good 10 minutes between you leaving and Angie's death, and you didn't find anyone?
I, I just. Albert, you said something earlier that didn't sit right with me, too. I finally realized what it was.
Alone? Are you kidding? First Speed Bump gets attacked and now Angie too? The killer's probably still lurking in the hallways.
Angie does, too. At that point, the only people who had seen the body were Holly and I. So, how did you know who the victim was? Oh, shit.
Are you guys serious? I heard it from Emilio.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. Emilio the killer, and he's lying to frame me.
I'm not.
Yeah, dude, I believe Emilio.
I believed Emilio too, but we needed proof that he was innocent. I thought back to all of my interactions with both Emilio and Albert, and that's when I remembered something. The beginnings of an idea were forming in my head. Hang on. Let me run something by everyone.
What is it?
So, we agree that the killer was hiding in the locker, right?
Right. The killer waited for you and Holly to leave, then, I assume, snuck down to the first floor to meet the others.
Think about the layout of the school. There's only one staircase connecting each floor to the next, meaning
the killer couldn't have gotten to the first floor before us. There's no way to sneak past.
exactly. But when you and I ran down the art room to the first floor, who was already at the bottom of the stairs? It was, guys, are you okay? I saw the lights went out and
Emilio! No, no!
But as Holly and I kept searching, the next person we found came from behind us.
Holy shit! I heard the announcement. He could have easily left the art room and headed downstairs after committing the crime.
Well, but
What about Latricia, huh? She doesn't have an alibi either.
yeah, but after the blackout, I went to the dining hall. I was there when Greg and Holly told us the news. And if we apply the Greg theory, it would be virtually impossible for her to reach the dining hall from upstairs without being noticed.
Albert, we got you.
You
You got me?
Sorry, Albert.
Damn it! Damn it!
Albert looked furious, but he didn't argue further. A flood of relief hit me. We were going to survive, but in exchange, we were losing another classmate. I think I should review everything that happened one more time. No. No. Let me. You guys deserve to know the truth.
The morning of Speed and the Bumps concert, I was walking around before breakfast. But as I passed the gym, I saw somebody.
Yo, Al, what's up?
Oh, hello. Are you exercising?
Yeah, I work out here, like, pretty much every morning.
I didn't think anything of it at the time, but later that day, Alfredo approached me. Just like everyone else, Alfredo threatened me. He mentioned my guys, my friends at school. He knew all of their names and where they lived. It sounds stupid, but I was scared. I didn't want to lose them, and there was only one way I could protect them. I remembered Speedbump's morning exercise, and I had a feeling he would be there the next day. Sure enough, I was right. I headed back down to the dining hall and faked ignorance when we noticed he was missing. I even offered to help look for him. You were even the one to suggest we check the pool. You wanted to be with us when the body was found, so you would have an alibi. But when we reached the pool, there was one thing I hadn't planned for.
Speed Bump was still alive. I had no plan. I was panicking. I needed a way out. I'll go tell the others. I should have cut my losses, but I was greedy. And I was paranoid. If Speed Bump remembered that I saw him exercising yesterday, he would connect the dots. In hindsight, I may have overestimated his intelligence a little. Hey, it's not my fault if I forgot. There was a lot going on, okay? Anyway, I decided that there was no turning back now. I was going to kill someone else instead. The problem was, everybody was with at least one other person. I needed to get someone alone, and that's when I had the idea for the blackout. Using the library card, I moved a bunch of computers and equipment into the computer lab. With the power strips there, I connected everything to one outlet. Then I headed up to the third floor and hoped my plan worked. Just then the lights went out, and I seized my opportunity. I grabbed the first person I saw, Angie, wrestled her into the art room, and took her out. I locked the door and hid in the supply closet. I waited there for Greg and Holly to leave.
She's dead.
And finally made my way downstairs with everyone else none the wiser. But she slipped up, and thanks to Amelia, we discovered that the real culprit is you, Albert Sandy. Damn. I just can't believe you would kill somebody. Don't act like you all wouldn't do the same thing. We all have our breaking point. For Rowley, it was his family. For Ruby, it was Fregley. Alfredo just found a way to push my buttons. Besides, if I hadn't killed somebody, somebody else would have, right?
That doesn't matter. No matter how you look at it, you're a killer. Need to own up to that.
Fine, I'm a killer. And it's unfair that Angie had to die. But if it wasn't me, it would have been somebody else. That's all I'm saying.
We seem to be forgetting something.
Oh no.
Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time.
I stumbled back as Albert's execution finished. Seeing how Abigail, Ruby, and now Albert's personalities and history used against them, I couldn't help but worry. What would my execution be like? What would Alfredo use against me? More importantly, Albert was gone. Sure, he had always been kind of distant and abrasive, but he wasn't mean or anything. Still, I couldn't just forgive him for killing Angie. At least not yet, and I had a feeling some of the others wouldn't either. Thanks, Greg. Huh? You promised me you would find out who killed Angie. I guess you did. I don't feel better, though. Before I could say anything, the doors to the elevator slid open. All 9 of us shuffled towards the doors, but someone stopped me.
Hey, Greg.
I turned around to see that Bailey was standing next to me.
I guess I was wrong. It wasn't you.
Yeah, I guess.
Sorry.
Huh, I didn't expect that. I guess I'll take what I can get.
Chapter 3 completed. Surviving Students 9.